Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about how to use if statements, and we'll do that in the context of both numbers and booleans and maybe strings too. So let's start out with numbers. So an if statement is executed when you want to make a choice, so based on circumstances in the program. So you say, let's have two integers, integer a equals 1, integer b equals 2, and let's say we want to do something only in the case where b is greater than a, or something like that. So we'll say if b is greater than a, and then open brace, hit return, and then you can execute some code here. And this code will only be executed if our condition is met. If you want to do the little formatting trick I just hit, you can hit Command Shift F and it'll kind of auto format things in a readable way for you. And so let's just print something out. System.out.println b is greater than a. B is greater than a. And so if I run this program, after it compiles, we're waiting, sorry, there we go, and it prints out b is greater than a. So let's now change the condition so that b is 0. So now the condition is not met, and if we run our program after it compiles, nothing happens because it didn't need to print out anything. Let's print out something else. So this condition, now you can do an if-else statement. So if this condition is met, execute this code. Else, execute this code. So else system.out.println b is not greater than a. And remember, it wouldn't be accurate to say that b is necessarily less than, because the two could be equal in this condition. And so if we run this program, it does execute the second code. We could also give it another condition here. Instead of just else, we can say else if b equals a. Print out, let's see, we want to do this elsewhere, so let's do else if b equals a, b equals a, then we want to do system.out.println b is equal to a. And now if we run this program, it'll still print out the third thing, b is not greater than a. So this if-else chain is important to understand. There's one thing I want you to understand. So if you establish an if clause, if this is the case, then execute this code. If this is the case, if b is greater than a, it will skip over and not even pay attention to these things because they're tied together with if-else statements. If we did this, if we just had two if statements or three if statements, if b is less than a, these three would all three be checked by the computer every time through the program. So if you tie them together with an else statement, it will stop after it finds the first true condition. If you leave them untethered, it will continue checking each if statement until the end, which can actually be, it can provide quite a bit of efficiency depending on what task you're trying to accomplish. Now these tests can be fairly complicated, so you can also have multiple conditions, so let's just delete these two things. And let's create two more variables. We'll use strings this time. String s1 equals Joel. String s2 equals dog. And we can test two different conditions. So we can say there are a number of different operators that we can use. We'll talk about one right now, which is or b is greater than a, or s1 dot equals s2. We can test if either of these conditions is true, it will execute this command. You can use the double and sign to test for if both of these conditions are true, if b is greater than a and s1 equals s2. You can use not, let's see, what other operators are there? No, I think those are the two main ones. So that's enough for this video, and if you have questions about how to use if statements, test them out and play with them a little bit, and then ask questions in class.